I'm Cheryl Smith, and I'm an apex rescuer.
And I'm Tara Bassett, and this is indeed Take It From Tara. So glad that you guys are with us this afternoon on this wet, gray,
very wet,
windy day, and thank you for coming out in
Absolutely.
it. Cheryl,
Absolutely.
apex rescuers have to stand up for each other, do we not?
Yes, we do. Day and night.
We do, day and night. And we have another friend who's going to be here shortly, Julie Foley. She had I think a farrier arrived at her horse barn a little bit late, and she had to take care of that. So we just wanted to let you know we will have somebody else popping into the visit, and we're going to put her right over there too. So Julie, if you're already watching us, you know exactly where to go.
Drive careful.
Yes, please drive carefully. So, and thank you for getting this for me. I love this. This is Huber's. Huber's hot apple cider with a little bit of whipped cream. And it says, video has no sound, but it does.
It's very noisy in here.
If you think that the video does not have sound, turn your volume up. This is what people are saying. They don't understand. Why doesn't Tara's video have any sound? Because you turned your sound down when you went into church on Sunday and forgot to turn it back up.
Hit the mute.
So, hello, Will Adams, Janelle Aguiar, Debbie Hossman, Joe Wainwright, Judy Case, and Sherry Davis. Glad to have you guys with us. As I said before, Cheryl Smith is with us. Marianne Stotts-Higgins is watching. Are you with Rita, Marianne? Are you trapping today? Another one of our friends, Rita O'Hearn Smith, is a master trapper.
Yes, she is.
We call her the queen of trapping, don't we?
Yes, we
and
do.
so she is out sitting in a rainstorm somewhere in Oldham County, looking for what? A Boston Terrier?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Small little dog. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you think about this. The whole point of our gruesome existence, as Jack Nicholson said in A Few Good Men, is to try to ameliorate the effects of people's inability to keep track of their animals, one way or the other. And that's if you lose a dog or cat, in some cases, if you don't have a chip in your animal, if you don't have a collar with appropriate tags and a telephone number that people can call if your dog shows up, that's why we exist.
Right.
And, you know, you've been doing this for years. I'm rather new to the game of the most recent incarnation of my animal rescue has involved more things with you than I would ever imagine any human being able to do, but it usually involves stopping on the side of the road when there's a hit by car and trying to figure out what to do. And I think that's one of the hardest parts of the job.
It's so sad. It's just so sad. But I mean, you know, they're sitting there helpless. There could be a family out there wondering, searching, putting posters up. You know, they need to have some closure.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we don't do that for them, the poor animal is just going to lie there.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that one of the things people don't understand, actually, is that there are no agencies in place to actually go out and take a scanner, a chip scanner, and scan deceased animals.
No.
And actually, Lark Phillips, another one of us who works in rescue, very clearly stated today on the promo, if you go back and look at the promo for this show, she said they don't even distinguish between domesticated animals and wildlife. They're all just roadkill, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so if you lose an animal, you're not going to ever know its outcome unless you just happen to find it or somebody reports there's a black and white dog lying by, you know, the Shelby County line. As Sergeant Lisa Nagel from the LMPD texted me today and said, black and white dog, about 3 miles east of the Shelby County line, sending a dispatch to see if we can get an officer in the area to look at it, but you might want to post and see if anybody's missing a dog out that way. So there's a network of people that you probably don't even know about. And they do all kinds of amazing things. And one of the saddest parts is actually what you and I did yesterday. Tell the story about the Fern Valley Road dog as he will forever be known.
Well, somebody posted that there was a dog on Fern Valley Road between 2 cross streets. So I was at work. I'm sure Tara was doing a million things that she always does. And I couldn't get to it. So hours later, you know, people post that there's a dog there, and then they just leave it there. And other people read about it, and they just leave it there. And if we don't go out there and move the dog, then it's just going to lie there. And people are going to go by with their kids in the car, and they're going to see a poor dog just lying there. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. And
it's going to be torn up because unfortunately cars will keep driving over and driving, and you end up with the bifurcated pit bull that I was looking at last week.
I live out in Buckner, near the range. This was nowhere near where I live, but I couldn't. How can you leave it there? I can't leave it there. I can't think of not even, just trying to see if it had a collar or a chip or whatever. So, of course, we tag different people on Facebook, Lost and Found sites, and Tara and Julie and Melissa Stump, who does this and has been doing it for years, and she's an inspiration to me. I mean,
who we wanted to come today, and she had some things going on at home, and she couldn't get away.
Yes, but I mean, she's been doing this for years, and always is out doing this for the animals. But Tara and I went out there and we looked for the dog, and honestly, I almost gave up because I was going back and forth on the side of the road looking on both sides and couldn't see it. But it was in the medium, but on the road.
And he was a little pitty.
He was little, and he was
intact
gorgeous.
Male.
Intact.
Beautiful little brindle dog. Had a black collar on that said bad to the bone. Which in some people's estimation is funny, but it makes me think that, he was not necessarily being used for the best purposes because he was an intact male, number one, and that's not a good thing.
Spay and neuter your dogs.
Spay and neuter your
Maybe
dogs.
they won't go out running trying to have a little fun.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, he was on the street, on the actual roadway of Fern Valley Road, next to the median, and therefore would have been pulled out into traffic eventually.
Absolutely.
And so we found him.
We found him, and thank God my husband gave us some gloves because he knows what we do.
Wow, he did.
Long gloves,
yeah.
Yes. So Tara and I, she scanned him, and he did not have a chip, unfortunately, so we weren't able to find his home. And we were able to get him off the road,
and hope that somebody will get the word that the dog is out there. We, of course, posted and updated the post and gave a description, and I have a photograph to show if anybody needs to see it. And it was one of those unfortunate hit by cars where it was a tap on the head, and that was all it took. The dog was very much whole, and it's so sad because you just think if somebody had just not left that gate open, or if somebody had just not had that leash that broke, or a retractable leash for a very strong dog, or you just think of all the what ifs. And then the next thing is, if somebody had just thought to spend the money, a little bit of money,
not a lot of money at all,
go to Feeder Supply and get a name tag and get a frickin' chip put in.
Or even if you can't afford that, put the name on the inside of the collar.
Right.
Something so we could have found the owner.
Right. White surgical tape on the inside of the collar. Anything to help us. And I think that one of the things that's really been helpful to me is some of my animal loving and amazing friends chipped in to get me a scanner for my birthday this last weekend. And sometimes people laugh about the husband who gives the wife the lawnmower with the implication being, honey, get out and mow the lawn, and the wife wants diamonds. Right. That's the old 1950s version of love.
Yeah.
But I could not have been happier with a birthday present than with a universal chip scanner.
Yes.
Because not only does it help in situations like we're in more than once a week, but also it helps when you have a lost dog. Because there are no real stray dogs.
No.
As Rita Smith says, this is not the wild, wild west. Dogs don't go for walks by themselves down the dusty roadway past the cow pastures. This is a metropolitan city, and if a dog is out without its owner, it's likely loose, and it likely needs assistance getting home.
Right.
Unless you live in rural Jefferson County, where a dog can go from farm to farm and visit its friends, but not in the city.
No.
So if you see a dog walking down Poplar Level Road,
do something.
Don't assume it's just going home, because it's not. It's lost and it needs help, and it will probably get hit if you're not the one to stop.
Yes.
So we talk about, and let's just say hi to some of the folks. Oh yeah, Debbie Bryant says, I wish people would be more responsible for their fur babies. Unconditional love is what they give to us. We're not so good at giving them the same in back. Tanita Gaines, Louisville's great voice. Hannah Truxell is watching from the Humane League. Rusty Swagger, nice to see you. Selena, Always glad to have you. John Young, news anchor, Janet Thomas, Mary John Saletti, Bertha Stamper, Stephen Fonte, welcome, Kim Kelly, Martha Bloom. Appreciate all you guys being here with us on this beautiful Waggin Wednesday, a rainy day. Glenda Perry, my gosh. Hey Danielle, I just met you last night. Danielle is the young lady who posted for us about the 2 black labs.
Oh, hi.
That we went out chasing last night at Cane Run and Ralph at 264. And one of the things that, we're talking about several different things here, deceased dogs being the worst, most heartbreaking part of the whole thing. But loose dogs, this is a big deal.
It is.
This is a really big deal. When we see a loose dog, our first inclination is to get out and run after the dog. Not always the best decision.
No.
Explain why. Well, dogs run away, actually.
Yeah.
They get scared.
They do.
If somebody were chasing you, you'd run away too.
Yeah. I absolutely would. I mean, they run. They're going to run away from you. You want to just sit down, try to gain their trust. If you have some goody treats or whatever, they're probably not going to come right over to you. You want to just sit there and just kind of toss a little treat over to them. You don't even want to talk to them. Just toss the treat to them. Let them come and get it. Toss it a little bit closer to you. Let them come and get it. Put your hand out. Let them see if they'll take it out of your hand. I don't even talk to the dog. I absolutely don't engage with the dog at all. I mean, if it just got loose and you know it's a neighbor's dog and you're friendly with it, that's a different story. But if it's a dog you do not know, I always try to, just toss a treat to it, let them get it.
The way to a dog's heart is through its stomach, just like with us. And I think one of the things that people are unaware of is, and that's on a situation where you're on a neighborhood street and you're not under a lot of pressure.
Right.
And you can try to toss the dog a treat.
Yeah.
If you're out in an area where there's danger, the first thing you obviously want to do, if a dog is running in and out of traffic, just dial 911.
Yes.
Don't try to look for Metro Animal Services number. Don't try to post on Facebook. Call 911, because not only will those animals be injured or killed, but they will cause a terrible accident.
Car accident.
Especially when you've got, big dogs like the ones that were running loose last night.
Yeah.
If you are in a more controlled environment, 473 PETS is a big number to call. 473 PETS is Louisville Metro Animal Services, and it gives you the opportunity to dial a number that's easy to remember, number one, and that they will answer if you hit 9 and you hit 2. And that will get you to an animal control officer. And they're doing a really good job, a much better job in recent months of answering the phone. They've got an SOP in place now so that we know that, we can pretty much expect to talk to a human and not have to leave messages and hope that we get a call back, sometime. They're doing a good job of returning phone calls when you do have to leave a message. But I think one of the things that's really important to know is, in that extreme situation, don't waste time posting on Facebook and trying to call for the animal control, as people call it, or call the pound. Don't do that. Call 911, get the animals out of the situation, try to get the people safe around the animals. And then, if you're in a controlled environment, 473 PETS, dial 9, dial 2, and ask an animal control officer to come to the location.
Absolutely.
If you are posting, let's talk about directions. Let's just talk about directions. Give us an example of what we can do that would be helpful to you, Cheryl, when you're looking for a location. Directionally challenged people that all of us are.
Tell us that. Cross streets, possibly, not just, they're out in Heights Point somewhere. Heights Point where? I mean, that's a large
Dog loose in
vicinity.
Heights Point. Can somebody please help?
There's Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie. Come on over here and sit down. Come on. I just looked here and I was like, Julie Foley is watching. She better be in the car, baby. Put that mic there right on here next to your little sweater. This is Julie Foley, ladies and gentlemen, also an Apex rescuer.
I can't go anywhere without my waves.
Here, I'll tell you what, move it over on this side for me, just a little bit. And that way it's kind of loud in here, and it'll just give you a chance to, here, let me help you. I'm a television.
I can't do much.
I'm a television professional.
Horses. Sorry. And pick up loose dogs.
We're so glad that you're here.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
You guys look like the twins today. Look at you. You're so beautiful.
Sorry,
so
I'm
Cheryl
late.
and Julie are quite the pair, because they do a lot of this together. But Julie, the things that we've been talking about so far is we talked a little bit about the unfortunate situation with deceased dogs on the roadway. And the story about the pit bull yesterday that we went out and you helped track that, and we found out that it didn't have a chip and it didn't have a tag and it had nothing on its collar but bad to the bone. And that couldn't be helped. And we were talking about the 2 labs that were running around on Cane Run and Ralph last night.
Yes.
And that you were also tracking and sending screenshots of directions
Thank
and
you.
posts. Thank you. That makes it a lot easier. But
Yes,
one of
it
the
does.
things that we just got to was talking about what helps us as apex rescuers out on the hunt directionally. Because if somebody says there's a dog loose in Hikes Point, can somebody help?
Right.
What else do you need to know?
Definitely like a description of the dog. I feel like sometimes people just say loose dog,
Right.
color, size, where it's headed. And then I feel like the biggest thing we struggle with is like people don't do more than just post. Like they don't always go further than that. And I feel I'm a big believer that everyone can do something, whether it's stop or try to lure the dog to your car. And if you're not comfortable with that, then please call animal control.
Or 911 is the
Or
emergency
911.
we were talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
Yeah. One thing you and I laughed about, and I know we've talked about it too, is this whole concept of I was late for my hair appointment, so I couldn't stop.
Right.
Anyone
Exactly.
who knows any of us knows we're probably
Our
always
lives
going to
are
be
so
late
busy.
for something.
Always.
And I get frustrated. It's like, why couldn't you stop? And sometimes you can't stop.
Right,
If
we
you've got
understand.
kids
If
in
you've
the
got
car.
kids in the car, right.
Absolutely. Like there was an incident last week in Oldham County, and I had my 2 dogs in the car.
Yes.
And dog food, and I was full to the max, and there was 2 dogs running down 53, and there was puppies chasing these 2 dogs, and I could not put the dogs in my car. But I did stop, and I did call animal control, and I stayed with the dogs and shooed them off of the road, but I couldn't put them in my car. But I stopped and I waited for animal control, and it took them a while to get out, but I stopped.
Yep.
And I just feel like why can't you stop? I mean, what is the dire?
How important is it is the question, always.
Right, and it's like if it was a kid, would you stop? And if it was like, would you want to stop? You want someone to stop for your dog.
That's what I always say. If your dog were out there, would you want me to post, I saw it, but I couldn't stop?
Right.
Yeah.
Or
No.
I just figured it was going to go home, and maybe sometimes they do.
We talked about that
Like,
too.
I mean, or it's going for a walk.
Yeah.
But, like that one time it
You
doesn't.
can see where all of our minds go. They all work at the same
Yeah,
place.
and we're not, trust me, we're not crazy like wacko dog people. We just want these dogs to get home safe, because I've had it happen to me that my dog escaped from me in broad daylight,
Yes.
and it was years ago, and I still struggle to this. So this is why I'm very passionate about
Yes.
getting dogs off the street.
Yes.
And my dog got away from me during the day, chasing a deer when I was walking home from the farm, and she made it to the road by the time I got to the car, and she didn't make it home, and no one stopped.
Yes.
And my dog had a embroidered collar, name. I mean, it was like screaming who she was and who the owner was. And they left my dog in the middle of the street deceased. And it happened within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And
It's terrifying.
they didn't stop. And it's not a good feeling. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, and why like I get so, it just brings back like that anxiety of like, why didn't that person stop, and why don't people stop for animals?
Yeah, and it's not a judgment either. We're not
No.
saying everybody needs to
No.
do the
No,
things
no.
that
We
these
do.
ladies
No.
do. I mean,
Right.
because
No.
these are extreme. You are extreme. And that's
Sorry.
a wonderful thing. Don't apologize. It's an extreme thing to stop and scan a dog, to pick up a dead animal, put it in your car and take it to a vet, have it scanned for a chip, beg the vet for the 47th time that month to please take the deceased animal's remains and dispose of them kindly, which is a really nice thing that a lot of the vets in the
Yes,
area
it
do, but I
is.
think we're going to all have to start getting wigs and glasses. Melissa Stump she just tuned in. She says, I've canceled numerous amounts of doctor's appointments to keep a fur kid from getting hit. I have a doctor that understands that. Absolutely.
She is.
Yeah. She's amazing.
She
Yes,
is
she is.
one of the best.
Yes, she
Yep.
is.
Melissa Bowman is fantastic. We appreciate you. Mary Kay Corfage is here. She said, thanks, ladies, for all you do. Jamie Lawson is tuned in. Glenda Adkins, homeless advocate. Rita's watching. Are you out there still trapping, trying to catch that Boston
Rita's
Terrier?
amazing.
There, Rita.
Rita is amazing.
Mari
There's so
Eiserman.
many people like
Yeah.
in our community that are behind the scenes that
Yes.
do
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
And I mean, so grateful for everybody. And
Yeah.
I feel like if everyone
Yeah.
just go out, and I hate to say like no one does anything, but there's so many people. But I feel like if more people could just do like a little bit more.
Maybe
like more dogs
maybe
would get
we
home
wouldn't exactly.
safe.
We wouldn't have so many dogs in the shelters, and we really.
I think what really upsets me more is like you see these dogs posted, like on the expressway or loose, and then a couple hours later, they're deceased, and they could have been, and not all the time. We can't. I know we can't save them all, but I feel like they could have been saved, and they shouldn't have been hit by cars.
Well, one of the reasons that we, I just jokingly said to her, it's like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. The horrible reason for the existence of people like us is because it can't all be done by the 16 animal control officers of Louisville Metro Animal Services. No. And it can't always be done by the owner. And sometimes it takes, days of searching. I went through that with a coonhound, years ago. Days of searching, boots on the ground, lots of people in the village. And sometimes, she got hit and she had $13,000 worth of medical bills to put her back together. But by God, Facebook worked.
Yes, it does.
People worked. The doctors worked. We fundraised, and it was amazing. One of the things I think that, I'm Rebecca Lohmeyer, just tuned in. Thank you for your wonderful work with Louisville Lost and Found pets.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, yes, and Mary Kay, we do appreciate her. Rita says she's trapping. Debbie Bryant says accurate location will help.
Yes.
As will description. She says, I always stop. The last one I have came off Highway 44 in Shepherdsville. Couldn't find the owner. That's another important thing. We've got so many important things to talk about, but that's another important thing. If you find a loose dog, you can't just take it home and keep it.
No.
Right. Why not, Cheryl?
Oh my goodness.
Why not, Cheryl?
Because there's
Tell us
owners out
why.
there looking for them. They don't all have a home, but the majority of them do.
Yeah.
And there's people out there looking for them.
And there's a process for this.
There is a process. I mean, first of all, it's illegal to do that.
A legal process.
Exactly. It's illegal to do that.
I love it when they say, I found the cutest dog and I've got a great new home for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Could you tell us where, please?
Yeah.
Or someone says,
could somebody register them with LMAS?
Yes.
the owner or the person that found it said, well, if the owner cared about it, they would have put a call, or like they start judging right away.
Exactly.
It's like accidents happen to
and
the best
collars
of us.
come off.
Right.
Collars come off. Dogs get out, they get into the woods, they do come off.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
I mean, my dog particular, I take the collars off at night, every single night.
Mine
Or
do too.
if I'm not home and my dogs are home together, they roughhouse, and a dog can get strangled.
That's right.
Roughhousing. Those collars come off when we are not home. I've seen it happen, and it's not going to happen to my dogs.
So the process is actually then there is a legal process in place. So it starts out with going online to Louisville Metro Animal Services.
Yes.
Easy to find.
Yes.
Just
absolutely.
Google it. And there's a form that says register a found pet, register
a lost pet.
And that's all you have to do to start the process.
Very simple.
Next thing we do is we turn to social media.
Yes.
That's a big deal. It's been a huge plus for all of us to have this little tiny desktop computer, pocket-sized computer in our possession at all times, which most of us spend a lot of time on every day. What kind of a post is going to have the most impact on you as an apex rescuer, Julie? Tell me what you want to see. What information is going to make your job easier?
Owner found, going home.
Yes.
The happy
Let's start it when the dog is lost. What do you want to hear from someone who's lost their dog? What information is going to help you to find that dog?
From the owner that's lost the dog?
Yeah, if I lose my dog and I go on and I post, what do you want me to say for you to help me find my dog?
I mean,
what do you want me
exactly
to say?
when it's gone lost, like not because there's one in Oldham County that's been missing. I thought it was just missing like recent, but since time has gone on, it's been actually a week. So it kind of changes your tune, like how far along do you need to be searching, or so exactly how long your dog has been missing, a description, does it have a collar, is it chipped, where did it go missing, as much information as you can give, like initially, it really helps speed up like people that are looking, people that are out searching, out willing to go out searching.
personality of the dog is helpful too.
Oh,
If it
yeah,
has a bite
absolutely.
history, good idea to share that with people
Absolutely.
before
Yes.
we go out and try to catch them.
Yes.
And dogs
If it
that are
comes
in
home
flight,
on its own. you
yeah,
know.
dogs that are in
Yeah.
flight are often going to be a lot more aggressive
Yes.
looking and sounding because they're scared, because they're out of their environment and they don't quite know what they're doing. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
personality characteristics: dog is timid, dog is
Yep.
shy, dog is friendly and outgoing, dog will go to anybody.
Right.
And so those kind of pieces of information are extremely helpful.
Yeah.
How to get a hold of the person who has posted, as opposed to just putting it on social media where you have to wade through thousands of comments.
Right.
If you see that dog, I always say, go to Messenger and phone call them. Do that phone call on Messenger because it's often a quick way to do it. And if you're not friends with them, you can go quickly add the message, add the friend, do a message, and then ask them to call you.
Yeah.
Or put your phone number in the post. I mean, I know everybody's freaking out about sharing your
you want
private
your dog back
information,
fast,
but go back
yeah.
and delete it.
Right.
But if you want your dog back fast, give us a way to get in touch
Yes.
with you quickly.
Yes.
Right.
As opposed to having to wade through.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing that she says, let's see, collars and tags, everyone please, says Mary Kay. A 15-year-old I found a few weeks ago would have gone straight home just a block away. That was the Seneca Hospital dog. Dog was out again with no tags and spent several nights in shelter. Yes, they come off, but always have them on your pet when they go outside,
Yes.
for sure. Debbie Bryant says, I searched and posted and still look for the owner. The shelter told me to keep him after 7 days. No one claimed, but I wish I did. He was probably let go. You know, that's really true. Jeannie Case says, a lot of people are still scared to call LMAS, especially if it's a pit. They think they'll automatically be put down.
No, they don't.
How can we get them more comfortable with turning in lost animals? A lot of the community think the shelter is still a kill shelter. So let's address that right now.
It's not a kill
Well,
shelter.
before we go any further, the chip, like the tags thing, if you don't want to put tags on your dog because they do fall off, those wire things do stretch. Get a black permanent marker and write your phone number on the collar. And
Inside or out.
inside or out. Done. So I just want to say that because
Good way to do it.
the
Yeah,
tags
'cause I mean,
do
we
fall
check the
off.
inside of the
Yeah,
collar,
I mean,
you know?
we do. The ones that we've
Yes.
found before,
Yes,
we
we
do
always
flip the collar
flip the
inside and
collar.
out. And
Yeah.
I found several that have a black permanent marker on the inside of the collar,
Yep.
a phone number. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
if you can't solve the tag issue, get a black permanent marker and just write the phone number.
And a light colored collar.
Right.
It's always helpful. Or white surgical tape on the inside. So
Anyway.
let's just clearly state right now, Louisville Metro Animal Services is not a kill shelter. It is, on the other hand, a no-kill shelter, which means that they have a 90% live release rate minimum,
Yep.
and they're closer to 94 and 95. So they've done a fabulous job attaining no-kill status and maintaining no-kill status. And that means that you are, and yes, the shelter is full of pit bulls.
Yes, it is.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
They're just loose all the time.
It's a
just-
society problem.
Yes.
Because there's backyard breeders.
Yeah.
Because people don't spay and neuter.
Exactly.
Which is a big problem.
Yeah.
We also have a dog fighting problem in Kentucky.
Yes, we do.
And unfortunately, people breed for the purpose of making money to
Yep.
be part of that industry as well. And you know, puppies can bring a lot of money.
Yep.
And people want to breed their dogs to have puppies to sell them.
Yes.
And they're not stopping and thinking about the fact that the shelters are filled to overflowing with animals that need adoption.
Yep.
Puppies to seniors.
Yeah.
Purebreds to mongrels, and they need to be taken out. And we need to do an empty the shelter campaign every week, not just once every 6 months. So LMAS is a no-kill shelter. Very important to know. If you take a dog to LMAS, talk to us about the process. You guys do it enough.
I've taken several actually that I've picked up that I ended up field fostering, but I take them in, give them the information on where the puppy or dog was found, and they immediately right away ask me, do you want to foster this dog? Their goal is to keep the dog out of the shelter.
Yeah, field fostering is a great concept.
Right.
It means that if you find a dog and you don't want to turn it into LMAS, you can actually keep it at home with you. And they will provide you with a cage, food, a bed if necessary, a leash if necessary, a collar. They'll give the dog their shots, they'll give you flea and tick medication, and you can take that dog home with complete security, which is fantastic. Go ahead.
And then I fill out a form, they do its intake picture, they list it on its stray hold, So in case the owner is looking, the owner can come in and look for the dog. It's not necessarily in the shelter, obviously, it's with me or whoever, but they still
Nobody can take it. Nobody can claim it until 5 days is up.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And then after the 5 days up, I take the dog back. It gets spayed or neutered, and then it goes into to the adoption floor or onto a rescue.
Yeah. So if you want to take it back to Louisville Metro Animal Services, at that point, it would likely go straight to Animal House if it's a fast track adoption.
It's very quick.
It depends. And then if you choose to keep the dog with you until longer, an owner has a chance to be found, you can do that as well. The happiest stories for me are when people are able to keep a dog.
Right.
In our cases, not usually what happens. Because unfortunately, animal rescuers and vet techs are some of the people who have the most compassionate hearts and who have the most animals. And oftentimes can't take in an extra one. But that's where fostering comes in. Talk to us a little bit about what it's like to be a foster and how...
I haven't done it.
You haven't done it?
No.
What? Get off the set. Get off the set right now. Well, I can tell you what foster is.
I just adopt straight out.
Well, you're a foster failure is what you're saying. Fostering is the greatest gift that you can give to an animal, whether it's a litter of puppies that you're trying to socialize to keep out of the shelter so that they don't pick up diseases that are very prevalent in all animal shelters, or a senior dog, or a dog that's just come in off the street. And fostering gets them into a home environment, enables them to be loved and with people and not in the chaos of a kennel, which is whether you're keeping them in a weekend boarding place or whether they're in a shelter, it doesn't matter. It's noisy and it's stressful. So fostering is a great thing. And organizations like Shamrock Foundation desperately need fosters. Medical fosters are important, people who can deal with the fact that a dog may have had surgery. Or bottle feeding, babies, which is a really cool experience to have if you haven't done it before. So fostering is a great thing. I'm just going to keep going back and forth to our comments because a lot of our friends are commenting. Hey, David and Janet Hedrick. Lark Phillips makes the point, describe the pet so we can do a word search. That really helps. Stop calling every animal this baby. Please. She says, stop calling every animal this baby. Oh. I understand the sentiment behind that, Lark. Bethany Billick of Kentucky and the Lost and Found Pets, another master matcher of Lost and Found. Rebecca Wellmeyer, great to see you. Sheila Bishop. Mary Kay says, and this is a really good thought, I also recommend a GPS tracker if you can afford it.
Yes.
$7 to $10 a month plus the cost of the tracker. Especially if you have a skittish dog, a deaf dog, or a flight risk.
Yes. They're wonderful. I have one on one of my dogs.
Do you really?
Absolutely. Gunner has it.
Yeah. How big is the tracker?
It's square. It goes like this, right on the collar.
Yeah.
And it is so precise for all these runaway huskies and they all.
And how long does it have to be charged, and how often does it have to be charged? Or is it battery operated or what?
Yeah, it's battery operated. It's electric. It's an electric box that you plug it in. We just got a new upgraded one for them, actually. So this one here is like maybe once a month that you have to put it on the charger, and it lasts.
That's pretty good.
For a month, yes.
So make sure that you keep your collar charged.
Yeah, and you put it onto your phone, and every single time he's out of the yard or I get a little alert on my phone. Gunner has left the building.
Gunner has left the building. Gunner and Elvis. Melissa just commented, a lot of emancipated fur kids have been found lately that were missing for weeks and possibly months. Owners are the first to be judged, and people are keeping the fur kids and saying not to give back to owners.
Yes.
Some due to age will also look like that.
Absolutely.
I have a 21-year-old cat that no matter how much he eats, he'll never gain weight. If he were to get loose, I would be bashed like crazy. But trust me, he is loved and fed all day and all night. Paula Weddington is watching.
I have been guilty of that in the past, and since becoming more part of this, have really reserved judgment when you see these emaciated, skinny. Because I've seen these cases that these dogs have been lost for quite a while.
Right.
They could have something seriously medically wrong with them.
Yeah.
It happens.
That's a scary thing, though, because we do want to jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
You see a skinny dog and you think, oh, but they're being starved. Or you see a dog that has, some hair that has fallen off. May have a skin issue, and you think, oh my God, it's got mange because it's been out in the rain for so long, or whatever. There's a million things that you can think, and they actually may not be true.
Exactly.
So try to reserve judgment.
Right.
Let's talk about another thing. Hi, Melissa Scott, Joy Estes, we love you. There's some.
What about Debbie?
Wonderful women. Debbie Horan is not on yet. But
she's amazing. She's been very helpful to me.
Jenny
as well.
Chappell tuned in. She's one of the gals who's down in South Louisville, does a lot of dog rescue. Tammy Cox, thank you. Melissa Garriott, we're glad that you're here. If you will just bear with me for a minute, because I have to say it. One week, whatever.
We're stuck here in the chair. So.
One of the things, you're hooked up to microphones. You don't dare run now. One of the things that I think probably causes me the most angst in the process of searching for a dog. Now, I've searched for a dog on my feet, which is out, boots on the ground looking. I've searched for a dog on my couch with the laptop. I have searched for a dog with my phone in my hand in Louisville, where a guy in Hamilton who'd lost his dog in Carrollton was communicating with the ACO who was holding her phone, and he was calling his dog to the ACO from 100 miles away, and it was all through my phone. Lots of ways to skin a cat, so to speak. Terrible use of the word. But anyway, the point is, when you are searching for an animal, one of the most excruciatingly painful things is finding critical information in a post. So if you can force yourself to not comment unless you have evidence and information pertaining to the search, like judgment, or like saying, oh my God, that poor baby, it reminds me of the Great Pyrenees I had when I was 4 years old in Washoe County, Ohio, and going off on a completely different string, which then draws other people away from the purpose. And that's why I have said and have been criticized in the past for saying it. Apex Rescuer online, please hold comments to affect the search. Why? Why are we so mean? This woman said last night, well, I should say, they're not mean at all.
It's not mean, it's just trying to get, it might come
streamlining.
across mean for a second, but it's just trying to get the attention so that we can focus, or you can focus, or whoever's on the scene can just focus for a second on what we're trying to do, because it's so much chaos, and we could be in the middle of a highway or just whatever. It's just trying to save a dog. And when your adrenaline is so high at that moment, you just need clarity. You can't be going through 50 different, things to find somebody who's trying to give you pertinent information.
Right.
So if it seems a little bit tough or harsh or whatever, it absolutely does not mean to be that way.
Correct. Curt's a good word.
Yeah, there you go. It does not mean to be that way. All of that can come after the dog is found and safe. Have a conversation after that. It's just,
you got to think about where these people are. The other day, you guys were, jumping through the expressway lanes, on the Gene Snyder. A couple of weeks ago, we were all out on 64 south of Shelbyville looking for a potential litter of puppies that may have been abandoned, and we really don't know because the mother was picked up in the middle of the night with, lactating mother, didn't know where the puppies were, searched for those for 3 hours, couldn't come up with them. And then we have a Mastiff who romps around Crescent Hill for a weekend, and Rita O'Hearn-Smith shows up after I've chased this damn dog all over the place for a weekend. She shows up, and 5 minutes later she's got the dog eating food out of her hand and in a trap.
We love you, Rita.
And it has been missing for 6 months, and it lives on Southern Parkway. So think about what's going on with the people who are doing the searching, and try really hard not to be judgmental of us too, because it's really hard to get information, and it's hard to get accurate information, especially if there are multiple posts, multiple people. See if you can kind of condense it. If you see an animal, go ahead and look through other pages. The lost and found pages are numerous. And look through those. Just put in lost and found on your Facebook engine, and it'll take you to 12 at least pages. And they will share them with each other, which is a very big help, which I love too. Billy Monk is watching. Daniel Ellis has tuned in. Melissa Scott is here. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you being with us. It's Waggin Wednesday. And for those of you who have just tuned in, 2 Apex Rescuers, Julie Foley and Cheryl Smith, join me, and I explained the Apex Rescuer. The point is that there are people, and there are good people who do a lot of work behind their computers, and there are good people who do their work on the street, But there are people who have the ability to make things happen and who do it very quickly. And there are groups of us who have everybody's telephone numbers in our phones. We know how to reach each other. We know the town. We know our directions for the most part. When we're not driving around in circles. We know how to get a hold of animal services. We know what the process is. We've had a little bit more experience. And I call it Apex Rescue because that's kind of like the top of the food chain in an area is an apex. And you guys are certainly great examples of being at the top of the rescue food chain, because the things that you do are things that most people wouldn't think of doing, honestly. I want to just have you tell me the story about the two Great Pyrenees. And I know it's heartbreaking, and Joy Estes, you might want to close your ears right now because that's your dog. Tell me the story about the two Great Pyrenees.
Yeah, that was...
Am I crying on that one?
Yeah, that was a hard day. But they were hit and killed out on 71 in Oldham County. And Cheryl and her wonderful husband, we all met out there. Animal control was called, but I don't know that they ever went out there. And they were not together. I mean, they were deceased by the time we got there. But I called Oldham County Police and told them that we would be out there trying to get to them, and they were fine with that. And that's what I always try to do if we are going to dogs that have been hit on the expressway, is notify police, and they either come out and help or they just are alerted. But
it's nice to have a police officer with flashing lights on the expressway when you're trying to remove a 140-pound dog or two of them.
Yeah, and
one
Louisville Metro did help Debbie and I last summer retrieve two, which was in a very hectic area, so we were thankful for him. But Cheryl and I and her husband, he came out with his pickup truck because one was not in good condition. But we weren't sure if they had collars on or whatnot, but we picked up the one and got it in the truck. And then we got the other one, and by the time we picked up the one, his collar fell off. Cheryl noticed that it had a tag. And that's how we were able to find the owner, and Cheryl made the unfortunate phone call to that owner.
That's a terrible phone call to have to make.
Yeah, it was an awful phone call to make.
Yeah, and you actually were able to return the dogs to the owner. Not always is the case.
Yeah, we did.
Unfortunately, and that's why I said, you kind of get to the point where we're going to need wigs and fake noses, because you take the dogs to the vet to get them scanned, and it's the good-heartedness of the vet that will take those remains. And sometimes, they have to charge a fee for disposal of the remains because it costs them money. And they're not a free disposal site, and I know that Louisville Metro Animal Services charges a fee to take a dead dog and incinerate it, and vets are certainly welcome to do the same thing. But oftentimes, which is a really sad thing, Rebecca Eves and I had this happen a couple weeks ago. We just happened to be meeting at Blue Pearl to deal with the situation, and we found out there was a dog very close by on Flat Rock, a little black and white dog, a little fluffy, who had gotten out, and we went and picked it up, and it turned out it was a relative of one of the employees at Blue Pearl. So when they scanned it, she had to call and notify her relative, which was really, really heartbreaking too. But those are the kind of people that we have. There's another question that's always asked, and I'm going to go ahead and let you take this one, Julie, because you see it, on the pages all the time. People say, I just saw a dog get hit. I don't have the money to take it to a vet. What should I do? Can somebody help this baby? Well, yes, you can help it by taking it to a vet, because there are ways to raise money. Right. Talk about how we can raise money online for people.
Absolutely. Please stop. Please don't feel like there's no hope, but please stop. Get the dog to a vet. The Advocate page is a huge, they will allow you to go on there and ask for donations
That's
to raise
Louisville
money.
Lost and Found Pet Advocates.
And
Kentuckiana Warriors, the Animal Warriors, is another one that will go way above and beyond to help get money.
Yes. They've gone over and beyond helping people, and they're tragedies with their dogs being hit by cars. But yeah, please don't feel like there's no hope, because there is. And there's been several dogs that have been saved that have been hit by cars that people have picked up that didn't own them and have taken them, rushed them to the hospital, and
saved their lives.
Saved their lives.
Yeah. We should differentiate too between where you take animals, especially in the off hours. There are only 3 emergency veterinary hospitals, and unfortunately Metropolitan, which is one of them, which is out on Blankenbaker, is not accepting them all the time because they are short-staffed at the moment due to a lot of different reasons. But you have to call ahead to Metropolitan Vet. Blue Pearl, which is in the East End, and Jefferson Animal Hospital, which is on 65 at Outer Loop, are the only other 2. There's a widely held belief that Shively Animal Hospital will take in emergencies, and that is not true.
No.
Not true. You cannot bring in a new client after 4 p.m. Period. I just updated that on a post that I wrote recently about Louisville Metro Animal Services. The second thing we have to clarify is, as beautiful as the new Louisville Metro Animal Services building on Newburgh Road is, they are not a 24-hour emergency hospital. And you cannot take an animal there and expect to get it medical care.
Right.
So let's just clear that up right now. Maybe someday in the future that'll be.
Who knows?
But it's not. It's still an animal shelter for the city. And that's what it functions as, and that's what its job is. But you have to either go to Blue Pearl or Jefferson, or calling ahead, go to Metropolitan. Do not try to go to Shively, because they will not accept new patients after 4 o'clock. And I got that straight from them, so I'm not just making it up.
I wonder about, because Crestwood is now open till midnight. And I don't know if they, like, what their situation, because I've had to go there.
They do. And that's a good one, because, Oldham County is a whole different story.
Right, and that's where I've gone, because since I live there,
yes,
with emergencies, or have dogs scanned or something, but I don't know what their situation as far as donations.
Yeah. They stopped taking it at, I think, 11:30. And you also have to realize that when you take a dog to a hospital, if you have heard of the concept of calling in donations, some hospitals do that, some hospitals won't do it.
Right. Because it clogs up their phone, and I understand that.
Yeah. Right.
So there are ways to get the dog help. I mean, don't feel like you're
Jennifer
on
Hutchins
your own.
is one way.
Yes.
Let's talk about Jennifer Hutchins for just a minute. Jennifer Hutchins is a huge Apex animal rescuer.
Yes, she is.
She has a PayPal account.
Yes, she
that
does.
is the most sought after PayPal account possibly in the country, because she will allow contributions to be made to that PayPal account, which she dedicates to animal rescue, and then she will pay the vet for the donations that are raised. So if you are in a situation where you've got a dog and you're going to a vet that doesn't accept phone-in donations, Jennifer will be one of those people that you call on, and she will help you to raise that money. And I think one of the things that's so amazing to me is how willing and how on the spot this group of this animal community is. This group of dog rescuers in this community will go to any lengths to help someone.
Absolutely.
Even people who may not necessarily have hit a dog, but the instance of, you remember the young lady whose kitten was in labor? And they had a cat, that the baby was stuck in the birth canal, and she drove all the way in from Indiana in the middle of the night to Jefferson Animal Hospital. And they allowed us to set up an account with her name and phone number, which is what you have to set up an account, and then go ahead and call in contributions. And the cat did not survive and the babies did not survive, but they had a chance.
Right.
Yeah. And that's one of the coolest things. Yeah. David George is tuned in, Warren Nash, Linda Knox, Dr. Francis Weinstock, Linda Mattingly. Debbie Bryant says, God bless you ladies for what you do. Absolutely. Thank them for what they do. Tracy Sprouse of Tiny Heroes Therapy Horses is watching. And Rebecca also says, please remind everyone Shively doesn't take phone-in donations. True, but you would have to be a client there to be able to, pretty much utilize those services anyway. During the daytime, you can take an animal to Shively, but remember that it's on a little bit different setup. And it may not be, they take emergencies in obviously very quickly, but if it's not deemed to be as serious an emergency, you might get attention faster someplace else. Hey, Bunny Zeller, great Apex rescuer from Animal Care Society. Patty Cockrell does a wonderful job. Hugh Fauché is watching. Okay, Billy Monk, can you cover all the things a person should do if they have lost their pet? Well, good God, Billy, we don't have 3 hours. Billy Monk is an absolutely amazing rescuer and has worked for years in the community. Let's do that quickly. If you lose your pet, the first thing you do, most important thing you do, is you immediately call everybody that you've got in your family and have them start calling each other and get boots on the ground around your neighborhood.
Yes.
Wherever you are. Because chances are, if you find out immediately the dog's gone, and you start knocking on doors and you start calling and you start driving and you start getting people out looking for the dog.
Immediately.
Post on Facebook. Number 2.
Next door.
Put out a sign in your yard that says lost dog. Do whatever you can. If you have a neighborhood association, if you can get somebody else to write an email, you don't have to start the posters yet. But do the immediate things first.
Check and make sure your chip is updated.
Make sure your chip is updated with information, because it's great to have a chip. If it's got the previous owner's name and telephone number and they die or move to Transylvania, you're not going to be able to get a hold of them. Updated chip, that's a big thing. Notify your vet. Notify the vets in the area. All those things can be done so quickly. And then when you move into that sad second phase, a few hours have gone by, the dog has not shown up, and if you haven't called LMAS, if you haven't gone online to post to LMAS, that's a good time to do that, because if they pick the dog up, bring them home very quickly, or they will have them there safe. Then you start to think about newspaper ad, more Facebook, more social media, posters that you put up. Rita's a big advocate of posters, and she's right, because there are still people in the world that aren't on social media.
But so many people put so much information on a poster, and it doesn't do any good. Nobody driving down even 25 miles an hour can read all of that. You can't read all that. And Rita taught me that.
Yes.
She taught me that.
Yes.
Bold letters, dark ink,
Fluorescent.
neon color.
Fluorescent
neon
poster.
color. You don't even have
Laminated is
to,
also good.
you don't even have to have the picture of the dog, she's told me. Just
lost dog.
Lost dog and your phone number. That's all you have to have. Because how many lost dogs are going to be in your neighborhood?
Well, it depends on what neighborhood you live in.
That's true.
And I'm even calling them now loose dogs, because they're not all lost. They might be standing right outside their yard. And that's another problem that we have as rescuers. Well-meaning people will sometimes kidnap a dog from right in front of its yard.
Let me take that electric fence collar off your neck.
And sometimes the little buggers bust through the electric fence collar.
They do.
The shock, because they want to get out on the street, or they see another dog, or somebody taunts them. So be aware of the fact that if you see a dog, you might want to knock on a door. You might want to secure the dog before you take it to another part of the state where you live. Why don't you think about it? I mean, the lady in Pennsylvania who just found the dog that had been gone for 12 years from Florida. Crazy. How did it get there? Some well-meaning person took it with them on their trip. Debbie just tuned in. Hey, Debbie Hurin, how are you? Jerry Swan, Lacey Roush, Melissa Stump. A lot of people also turn strays loose after finding them because they can't keep them, and they tell them Metro is closed. You can still take the stray to Metro after hours. It will keep them safe and off the streets. This is something people don't know. When you dial 473-PETS, you get a message, and you hit 9 for the main menu, and you will after hours hear a voice say, "Well, Metro is closed." Hit 2.
Don't hang up.
Do not hang up. Hit 2 for a stray or injured dog. And an ACO, an animal control officer on duty, will answer the phone, or you'll get their voicemail if they're in an active call, because there's usually only 1, maybe 2 on the street at night. So you can just tell them what you need, tell them what the situation is. They might say to you, "Can you bring the dog to us?" Or if the dog is injured, maybe they'll have them, take them to Jefferson or whatever. But you need to talk to Metro Animal Services, or in Oldham County Animal Control. Very, very good point to make. You don't have to have it not happen. And please, for the love of God, don't turn the dog loose.
Please don't turn the dog loose.
Not after what everybody's gone through to get that dog safe. You can get on Facebook, and in minutes you will find somebody who says, "I know I have 14 dogs, but yes, I can keep yours overnight. I can keep this one." Most people can keep a dog for a night.
At least for a night.
That's all.
at least for a night. I mean,
that's important. Lacey Roush is watching. Glad you're here. Natalie Roberts and Alan Jenkins just tuned in on this very, very wet Waggin Wednesday, and it's to me it's a beautiful day because I'm getting to see my friends, and that's always fun. We've got to wrap up because you guys have things to do, places to go, and people to see, and I'm going to just kind of summarize this by saying you two can be a part of the Apex Rescuers team. Part of it, good communication and responsibility. So the most important things we want to get across to you. What should we do with our dogs to keep them safe so that people like us don't have to go out and look for them? Or have the best success in finding them?
Yeah, I mean, accidents happen. I mean, dogs
Sure.
get out. I mean, it happens to the best of us. I mean, dogs are dogs. But, I mean, if you have a known fence jumper, I have one. He can scale a 6-foot fence like a deer. So he doesn't get to go out in my backyard anymore and have that luxury. I walk him on a leash.
There you go.
I feel like I see a lot of these dogs. He's out again. He's out again.
Yeah.
And the
It drives me
repeated push.
crazy. He's quite an escape artist.
Yeah.
I'm like,
really?
Yeah.
I try not to
Keep
be
him
like rude on my responses, but I'm like, please put him on a leash. Like,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's just like repeated, like common sense has to like
Figure out
come
how
into-
they're getting out of the fence.
Yeah.
And
Figure
if
it
he's
out.
jumping
Put it
the
out there.
fence, like just walk the dog. Like,
Yeah.
Or join a dog park.
Right. I mean, you're supposed to
Oh,
have that
much
bond with your dog
runs
anyway.
Everywhere. They've got them everywhere.
Yeah.
Little Dog Run Association.
you know, and you let the dog out to go to the bathroom and you didn't watch them, and now they're gone. Well, probably so. I mean, please, you know.
We get a little sarcastic at times
Because
because
it just becomes frustrating because I feel like it's
painful.
our job to keep our dogs safe, and
Yeah.
sometimes I don't feel like people do that always. They're a little lax because they came home last time. Well, that one time
Yeah.
they might not
it
come
doesn't
home.
come home. But,
That's right.
So I mean, chips, and we
Yeah.
can beat it into their head. I mean, chips. That dog we picked up a couple weeks ago out at the hospital. She didn't think she could chip her dog because she didn't think the chip could be moved to another name.
Yeah.
So education, I think, is key.
Absolutely.
You know, chips can be moved to me, to her. I mean, it's not like permanent.
Yep.
I just feel like education is the biggest thing to me. That, you know, spay and neuter.
Collars,
That's so
tags,
huge.
anything that identifies the animal is extremely helpful. Extremely helpful.
So, and just most dogs we see around here probably aren't lost. They are lost, but they're not strays. They're just missing their home. So please stop, or please call Louisville Metro, and just please do something. Don't just drive on by.
If you remember nothing else today, but just remember this. This is really critical to know. Rita O'Hearn Smith. She's going to kill me. She gets more tags on lost animals than any human being in the world.
Professional
But
dog
seriously,
trainer.
she is. She's the queen of trapping, as we call her. She's got Kentuckiana Lost and Found Pets Network. Then there's Louisville Lost and Found Pets Network. Then there's Louisville Metro Lost and Found Pets. Then there's Kentuckiana Animal Warriors. Then there's Louisville Lost and Found Pet Advocates. So there are all these incarnations of Lost and Found. And if you type in Lost and Found, you will find them all.
Yep.
But seriously, it's so simple to just remember Rita O'Hearn Smith.
Sorry, Rita.
I know, sorry, Rita. Or Julie Foley, or Cheryl Smith, or Tara Bassett, because any of us will be able to get you where you need to go and be able to provide instant help. And we really appreciate it. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to help you, but we ask you for your help too.
Please.
Yeah, because we would like to see one more dog go home
Yes.
and have to pick up one less dog on the street, call an owner and tell them the dog's been killed, and then try to figure out, you know, how to deal with it afterwards. So we appreciate it. Yes, Melissa says Rita is the bomb. Yes, she is. Billy says if you can't feed them or care for them, do not get them. Patty says a simple name and phone number on their collar and licensed. That's true. Becky Strife is watching of Tribe Animal Sanctuary. Debbie, please tag in microchip. Lee Chotner's watching. Marsha Brown is watching. Thank you so much. Debbie Horan says, hi, Julie. Glad that you're here with us.
Debbie's been
You
great.
guys have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much for taking the time to join the Apex Rescuers. They're wonderful. Julie Foley, Cheryl Smith, Rita O'Hearn Smith, who's not here with us, Marianne Stotts Higgins, all of the folks who run the Lost and Found pages, Rebecca Eves, all of the people who are in animal rescue and who do wonderful things. My gosh, you don't even know how many people out there are at the disposal of the animals to try to find, make safe, get cleaned up, get veterinary care, get fostered, get adopted, get returned home. And we are so lucky in this Louisville community to be able to do it. While I turn off the phone, remind them of how to get a hold of Metro Animal Services.
502-473-PETS. Then you hit 9, and then you hit 2.